This is the Ohio AgNet from the Voice you know at the News You Trust studios, sponsored by BASF and Zidua, the most trusted name in herbicides, providing Ohio corn and soybean acres with up to 2 weeks more residual activity and broad-spectrum weed control. I'm Ty Higgins. Tune into the Ohio AgNet Wednesday during midday for the April edition of the Field Leader Roadshow. Powered by soy biodiesel, Dusty travels to Lorain County to visit Gordon Farms and Flynn Livestock. The Ohio Field Leader, a project of the Ohio Soybean Council and Soybean Checkoff. And our next monthly check-in at Farm Credit Mid-America coming up on Thursday. Tune in as we discuss the latest Farm Credit Mid-America news and updates. The latest Ohio AgNet podcast is now available. Ohio soybean farmers could soon see expanded global opportunities and getting some help managing rising fertilizer costs as planting season gets underway. This morning's news feed brought to you by Tempte, now factory direct in Sydney. From trailer sales to parts and trailer service, the Tempte team is ready to keep you moving. Stop in today or call 326-206-2062. On the new Ohio AgNet podcast, powered by Ohio Corn and Wheat, we find out more about the World Initiative for Soy in Human Health, or WISH, an organization working to create new opportunities for U.S. soy around the world. From one of their board members, Adele Flynn from Lorain County.
WISH to me is this catalyst for creating new trade markets and just looking for potential new opportunities to sell our great Ohio soybeans.
New developing markets, improving nutrition, food security in emerging countries. From what you've seen and heard so far in that one meeting, and I'm sure with conversations with other committee members that have been a part of WISH for some time, where do you think the biggest opportunities are for U.S. soy in the years ahead?
A lot of focus right now is on Africa, the poultry and aquaculture. Asia, countries like Cambodia, they're really trying to lift up dairy. So we're tapping into that, the Trans-Caspian region. Latin America is actually one that's on the tail end of a successful WISH program. So they are starting to transfer over to just a regular USEC, or U.S. Soybean Export Council is working on that. So a lot of the focus is on Asia and Africa.
Plus, learn about a benefit that could make a real difference for farm families across the state who are looking for affordable health coverage. Trevor Kirkpatrick with Ohio Farm Bureau talks about Ohio Farm Bureau health plans.
We want to scale our farm. We want to do more. We want to be here more. We want the next generation to see what we're doing and continue this farm. And that's legacy building. And it all starts with being able to be there more. So these plans are doing that for people. We are hearing success stories of people saying $15,000 a year, what they're expecting this coming year on just health plans, so that they are now utilizing the funds that they're going to save to put right back into their operation. I mean, that's amazing to be able to have 5 digits in your bottom line that you can now have to scale your operation. And it starts with a healthcare expense. And then another one, there's a lot of people who don't have to change their doctor from their previous healthcare. That's huge. You grow with your doctor and you bring your small baby and infant, and then they go into and they keep growing, and you don't have to worry about them doctor dating, right? We don't have to go around and finding a doctor that fits our family. You can utilize the same one in a very frequent case. So that's been a rewarding process, is to hear these families and even individuals. Some of the group of people that maybe we didn't expect to hear from the first is that 60-year-olds or ones just before Medicare kicks in, they're looking for an early retirement, and they're still saving money. It's pretty awesome to see that a young family and maybe a pre-Medicare age individual are both seeing benefits for the health plans.
You can listen or watch the new Ohio AgNet podcast online now at ohioagnet.com. Let's check the forecast with Ryan Martin, brought to you by Seed Consultants, Simply Better Performance, online at seedconsultants.com.
Scattered showers around today. We actually saw the action start overnight last night. Most of the rest of today, I think, is relatively light and widely scattered, but we do still see chances of rain every day this week, at least in some part of the Buckeye State. Thunderstorms, the strongest and most severe, seem to want to set up a little bit farther west. That does not mean I'm going to rule them out here there either. I think the best way to look at this week is today through Thursday night, early Friday morning, penciling in anywhere from 1/2 to 2 inches of precipitation. We take a little bit of a break Friday late morning, midday through the evening hours, and I think we can even put together a little bit of dryness into Saturday midday, but then another round of moisture comes back Saturday afternoon, evening, and into early Sunday, anywhere from 1/10 to 1/2 an inch there. Cold air behind it. I'm Ryan Martin.
New tools from The Ohio State University are helping growers make smarter nitrogen decisions without sacrificing yields. At the center of the effort is the Corn Nitrogen Rate Calculator, which uses years of Ohio-based research to determine the most profitable fertilizer rate, not just the rate that produces the highest yield. Agronomists say that's especially important this year, as higher fertilizer prices are forcing farmers to rethink their management strategies. Nitrogen is one of the largest input costs in corn production, and price swings can quickly impact the farm's bottom line. Learn more about this new tool helping farmers manage rising fertilizer costs at ohioagnet.com. And Ohio soybean farmers could soon see expanded global opportunities thanks to a new international agreement. A memorandum of understanding has been signed between the Ohio Soybean Council and Vietnam's Ministry of Agriculture and Environment, aimed at strengthening trade ties and boosting demand for Ohio-grown soybeans. The agreement follows a recent trade mission to Vietnam and Japan, where Ohio officials and industry leaders worked to build relationships and open new markets. Vietnam is considered one of the fastest-growing markets for animal feed, with increasing demand for high-protein soybean meal. Read more about the trip and the MOU online now at ohioagnet.com. Coming up after this on the Ohio AgNet, today's featured audio talking about the use of cover crops and livestock in regenerative farming.
Every bushel you grow needs a market. That's why the Ohio Soybean Council is working to expand demand for Ohio soybeans around the world. Your checkoff supports international outreach, trade team visits, and putting Ohio soy in front of global buyers. By showcasing the quality, reliability, and value of Ohio soybeans, you can count on new opportunities and increased demand today and into the future. Visit soyohio.org to see all the ways your Ohio soybean checkoff is at work, expanding markets for your beans.
Bottom of 31 sold them 30,000 Gene.
Get ready to bid on the heavy equipment and vehicles you need in a Ritchie Brothers Midwest Regional Auction happening May 12th. Inventory is housed at Minneapolis, Kansas City, Chicago, Columbus, Detroit, and Lincoln locations. Choose from a wide selection of construction and transportation equipment. Don't miss this opportunity. Visit rbauction.com/Chicago to sign up. Again, that's rbauction.com/Chicago.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins. Where do cover crops come into play when it comes to regenerative farming and livestock? Here's Dusty Sonnenberg with today's featured audio.
Joining me today is Brett Margroff. Brett is from Seneca County, a farmer there, and you shared today about an important part of regenerative farming, and that is the incorporation of livestock.
We've always planted a lot of cover crops for 25, 30 years, and every spring we're out there terminating all these grasses and legumes, and which in the eyes of a cattleman are forages.
Right.
So we have plans to start doing more and more perimeter fencing of more additional farms. That I don't know where this is going to go. The boys are coming home from college in a couple years, and they have sort of a number in mind. I think it's kind of big, it's scary, but we'll see. I'm not going to say that we can't do it.
So you're not building barns, you're building fences and water lines.
Absolutely, yeah. Our cattle are outside 24/7. Now, obviously, you couldn't do that with dairy animals.
Sure.
They wouldn't be able to handle it, but when I saw what they do up in North Dakota and South Dakota with the winds and the snow, and, they talk about grazing sections up there, right? We talk about the back 40 or something. They're out there all winter on a section, and they go get them in the spring, and some have calves and some lose calves, but life goes on. Yeah.
Well, let's flip the coin a little bit. Maybe some things you didn't anticipate as challenges that were a little bit of surprise that way.
Probably the biggest thing was how quickly you start to double in size from year to year. And we did start to get some manure from being stockpiled from feedlot during the winter months, because you can't keep them out there all the time.
Right.
So we were starting to get a lot of manure, which is a good thing too, because now we can use that and credit that where we need it. Maybe just the neighbors. When we start building fences, you get a lot of neighbors that maybe start going, "What are you doing?" And they stop and they tell you that they've spent their entire life tearing fence rows out, and here
That's a
you are
common
putting
one.
a fence up next to me all over again. So yeah, there was a lot of scratching their heads, but we started small. It's been a progression. I think it's going to continue to be a progression, and we're going to continue to learn all the time. Right now, the hardest thing is because we used to run everything together, the calves, the steers, the cows, even a bull, and we would just seasonally move the bull in and out. Well, now it's, you're getting so many animals now that we have to start doing more separation, because pretty soon we start to run into, maybe some breeding that happens that we didn't want to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's been the most recent challenge, I would say, is needing more areas, more farms, more separation.
Sure, interesting. You mentioned you started small. To somebody that is, this has piqued their interest, and they're almost there, but they want to take that next step. What is the first step if you were talking to somebody that isn't doing it yet but is really interested? Where should they start?
I guess finding the right land first. For us, we found some what I called marginal land that we put it to pasture. Well, it was very shortly after that we said, no, we need these on our crop acres grazing cover crops. So I think if you've got the cover crop system in place, that's a really good start. Looking at what you have for property boundaries, that's the next biggest thing, because that'll be the biggest expense is fencing. And that fencing price is like anything, it just keeps climbing.
Yeah.
If you can learn to do it yourself, you can really cut a lot of time out. So those are probably the two biggest challenges, I think. We started with just a couple. I'd say probably start with a few more than that if your budget, because if you want to progress, it's the obvious way. The other thing, choose the right breed. Okay. We chose our breed for the purpose of being a docile breed, but yet having really good maternal instincts. And I didn't know, I hear lots of people say that about every breed. Yeah. But we run red poles, and they truly are a very docile breed. Matter of fact, we were just in Louisville this past weekend at the expo down there, and there's lots of other breeds, and you watch the red poles, and they are just so laid back. And I think it makes a difference, and I think it makes a difference on how you want to finish them. We try to finish on grass, and that was another reason that we chose that heritage breed of a red pole, because we wanted to have a grass-based product. Not that we won't finish some on grain, but we wanted to have something that was a good quality product on grass.
Great information. A lot of things to factor in there, but nice to know that there's options and resources as well. Again, my guest today is Brett Margriff. Brett, thanks for your work. Thanks for sharing, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dusty. We'll check overnight markets and analysis next here on the Ohio AgNet.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Hey farmers, planting season is almost here, and Ohio AgNet wants to bring lunch to your farm. Our Feeding Farmers contest is going statewide, and we'll soon be picking farms across Ohio to receive a visit from the Ohio AgNet and free lunch for your farm family and crew. If you'd like us to stop by, get signed up today. Just visit ohioagnet.com/feedingfarmers to enter. Feeding Farmers is brought to you by Ag Revolution, Paradise Energy Solutions, and the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust. Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins, and this morning's market analysis is brought to you by Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
It's interesting to note, as we kind of mentioned, a little bit of war premium coming off the table late last week, and as the talks about the ceasefire and different 10-point plans, 15-point plans get discussed between the U.S. delegation and Iran's delegation this week, we're still looking at estimates having 240,000 contracts worth of longs on corn, 200,000 contracts of long on beans, short 10 to 15,000 contracts in Chicago wheat. That's on the part of the funds. I'm Ryan Martin.
Ryan, thank you. Overnight markets on the Ohio AgNet brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. We're 4 cents higher for May corn at $4.45 a bushel. December, $4.76 and 3 3/4 higher. Front month May soybeans 3 3/4 to the plus side at 11.79 1/2. New crop November 11.61 1/4, up by 3 1/2. And wheat for July 9 3/4 to the good at 5.90 1/2. After Friday's close, live cattle for April $2 higher at 251.77. The June 249.20, also up by $2. Feeder cattle for May 372.35, up $1.92. April lean hogs a nickel to the good at 90.72, but the May down 37 at 95.52. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins. We'll see you down the road.